What is happening, y'all? Cowboy here, and welcome to my ending guide for Wuchang Fallen Feathers. Now, this guide is obviously going to be full of spoilers, as we're going to be discussing how to get Jarful of Medicine, Bound by Fate's Threads, Dreams, Sweet Deceit, and last but not least, Successor of the Bow. Now, it is possible to get all four of these endings in a single playthrough, but it is going to require quite a bit of save manipulation. With that being said, there's a couple of key inflection points that we can make backups at to get three of the endings pretty easily, while the fourth ending, personally, I think it's easier to do in New Game Plus, but we'll talk about how you could get it via a save backup anyway. And so the first one we're going to be talking about is Successor of the Bow. Now, I do want to note before we jump into these that you can actually make progress towards all of these endings simultaneously, and then there are key decision points that have to be made that are going to lock you into each ending. So unless I call it out as a key decision point, just assume that you should do everything we're talking about in this video. So working towards the Successor of the Bow ending, one of the first things is you have to talk to the lady right here, the lady, red-clad lady that you're going to encounter as you play throughout the game. This is essentially the Bow Magus. Like I said, obviously this video is full of spoilers, but the very first time you interact with her is right near the very start of the game. So ask about the power of feathering. She's going to give you some loot. You should be doing this regardless. The next time you're going to have a chance to interact with her is going to be in the Doomwillow Beach area, and this is going to be as you make your way over to the Reborn Treant. It's basically impossible to miss her. You have to walk directly past her just to progress this zone, but once again, talk to her. She's going to talk about how the feathering on your arm is getting stronger, and mortals can't wield this type of power, blah blah blah. Once again, just make sure you run through her dialogue here, and you should be doing this regardless of which ending you're going for, because you're going to be getting goodies for accomplishing this. You'll see, will this immense power consume you, or will you conquer it? I don't believe there's any dialogue choice specific here, but I'll let it play out just in case. We'll find out soon enough. There we go. You get a benediction out of it. The next, and this is a particularly important part, and it's going to be at the Avian Dwelling. You're going to encounter her for the third time over at the Avian Dwelling, and she's going to have more dialogue about how your feathering has been progressing and whatnot. As this dialogue is exhausted, there's going to be an option to agree with her, and you're going to want to pick agree. This is an important choice that you have to make to work towards this ending, but once again, this is a case of you should be making this choice regardless, because you're going to get rewards for taking that particular choice. So if sacrificing the worthless would save the world, or could save the world, would you do it? That's going to run through, and you're going to select I agree. And last but not least, we have the Storyteller in Act 4. And now this is the inflection point for this ending. He is going to run through some dialogue, and he is going to tell you that he wants you to kill the Bow Magus. And if you tell him no, and then when you're asked to confirm the choice, you tell him no a second time, you will then be able to get the Bow Magus ending. Now, I'm not sure if you can make your way all the way up to the Bow Magus and then come back and tell him, but this should be one of your first inflection points if you're trying to back up your save to get a particular ending. I do plan on testing this more during the walkthrough prep. I know that the decision you make with him here is going to be critical to whether or not you get that ending, but I think you may be able to reach the boss first and then back up your save. But you can see right here, refuse to help, and then you're going to want to select refuse a second time. And those two choices are going to be what lock you into the Bow Magus ending. Basically, upon killing the Bow Magus, after making those choices, you then become the new Bow Magus yourself, hence the name of the trophy, Successor of the Bow. The next ending we're going to be talking about is the Jarful of Medicine. Now, this is the de facto ending as you're progressing up to Act 5. And this one has two different ways you can go about it. One of the biggest things is if you don't have the rings of cause and effect, this will be your default ending. But if you are trying to guarantee this ending in particular, you're going to have dialogue with Zhuan Zhengji before you make your way over here. And you can choose to hand over the Jade Feather Chisel. And this is right before you would fight the final boss of Act 4. This guy is impossible to miss. He's right before the shrine. Once you go past the shrine, that's going to be when you make your way up to the final boss. I've seen him right at this spot. I've also seen him a little bit ahead, but you basically would have to be blind to not see him and walk past him. And choosing to hand over the chisel will lock you in to that Fistful of Medicine or Jarful of Medicine ending, assuming you're not already locked into the Bow Magus ending. Now, to talk about this a little bit and just clarify some potential things, And in particular, what I want to discuss is in regards to the Bow Magus, because you're going to want to kill the Bow Magus regardless of what you're going for. And one of the main reasons for that is the Echo of the Bow Magus spell we get from them. It's super, super good. One of the best defensive spells in the game. And so if you're trying to get all the endings, back up your save, kill the Bow Magus, then make the other choice where you agree to kill the Bow Magus and kill the Bow Magus again, because you're going to want Echo of the Bow. But the important thing here is that if you tell the storyteller no, as if you're going for that ending, and then you're making progress to other endings and you kill Bow Magus after stating no, that ending is going to trigger. You're already locked in. So just keep that in mind. So Bow Magus has to die regardless, because you're going to want that spell. And on top of that, you know, you're working towards the trophy of all weapons, all achievements, all that type of things. But beyond that, working towards Jarful of Medicine, it's going to be either giving him the chisel or alternatively not obtaining the rings of cause and effect. If you don't obtain the rings of cause and effect, that will also progress you to the Jarful of Medicine ending. And we're going to be talking about those rings next, because those tie directly into the other endings, the Dream Sweet Deceit, as well as Bound by Fate's Threads. So let's talk about those two, because both of those endings are kind of just two ends of the same coin, and you can actually achieve both of them with just a quick save backup. So one of the first things is these endings are going to involve Heiyozai and Fang Yao. So Fang Yao, we're going to first meet her in chapter 2, and I'm going to go right on over to where we meet her here to showcase where you find her. Now, obviously, anytime you see Heiyozai, you should discuss with him. That's the NPC that's calling out to us at the start of the game. That's like, Wuchang, I'm over here. And so he's pretty much impossible to miss. He's always going to be on critical path. You can't walk past him. But Fang Yao is possible to miss, because she's just tucked behind a door here in Cloudspire City. So the first time you make your way over to Cloudspire, she's going to be behind this door right here. You're going to have to kill an enemy that's over there, and after killing him, you can then talk to her. She'll talk about how she was brought to Cloudspire City, and she's wondering how her family is. She hasn't heard anything from them. And so the next thing you have to do, if you haven't done it already, is go find out what happened to her family. So you can actually do this beforehand, but we're going to hop on over to Hillswatch, and we need to go to her father's grave and get the silk scarf from that grave, and then hand that to her. Now, likely, or once I said likely, you should have already done this as you make your way through, but just to show the progress through Hillswatch and where we go to get this particular item, since she is part of the critical path for the other two endings, we're just going to make our way up into Hillswatch. We're going to swing around here and start going up. And then up ahead, when the path splits, you're going to want to swing left. So we are up here. We can see the path splitting up ahead. That is where you would progress to start making it into Cloudspire regions. Instead, we're going to swing left and go down here. There's actually another side quest that you can accomplish going over there for the lady that's right at the entrance to Hillswatch. But you're going to go down here, and then there's going to be a gravestone right here. So you're then going to pull up your emotes. It should be like the back or the touchpad for PlayStation, back button for Xbox, and you're going to want to do examine. By examining that gravestone, you're then going to get the silk scarf. And like I said, you can do this in advance so that when you meet Fang Yao, you can just straight give it to her and progress the quest in one fell swoop. But you're going to need the scarf from that grave to progress her quest line. The next time you're going to meet her is going to be down in the mines, and that is going to be right here at the shaft entrance. Now, her quest line also ties into the final boss of this zone, so as long as you get her out of that room, it's pretty hard to miss. But Fang Yao is going to be right here. Or, excuse me, is it Fang Lin? Yeah, it's Fang Lin. I'm getting my... No, wait. No. Fang Lin is the boss. It is Fang Yao. I'm slowly picking up all the names. But a good way to tell is you'll see these little windmills. Anytime you see the windmills, that's a good indication that one of the important NPCs is at that spot, whether it's Heiyozai or Fang Yao. But Fang Yao will be right here. You're going to talk to her, and she's going to say, you know, I want help. My sister's stuck down there. She's been so close to me. I don't know what's happening. And you want to select the option, agree to help. It's very important you pick that option. Otherwise, you're not going to advance her quest line. So once you pick the option, agree to help, that's mostly going to be done. At this point, you'll end up making your way through the rest of the act. You'll defeat the boss. At that point, you'll have the shrine down here in the wedding hall, and you can go to worship. You then go to enter dream. That is going to reset. At that point, the storyteller is going to show up and he can give you basically hints on how to progress to the next zone. And Fang Yao is also going to be down here and she's going to be just mourning the loss of her friend. But so as long as she's down here, you're going to want to talk to her. And at that point, her dialogue is advanced and you're basically all set on her dialogue. Now, there's a second thing that we're going to want to do. And as far as I know, I don't think this part is needed for the Bound by Fate's Threads ending. But since you can get both Bound by Fate's Threads as well as Dream Sweet Deceit with just one quick reload, you might as well do this as well. And that is going to be progressing Zhao Yun's quest. Now, we can also find Zhao Yun at roughly the same spot. We're going to go over to Refugee Camp. Because this is at the end of the game, obviously things are going to be a little different right now. We're not going to see NPCs over here, just something to keep in mind. And Zhao Yun, you've probably encountered him a couple times throughout the game. That's the old man that you're going to encounter with the gray hair. Really cool NPC. He has a whole side quest that basically involves killing a boss, and it's you're going to kind of just stumble through it. Just every time you find him, just talk to him. And the critical point is going to be over here. You're going to find him over here. You can see that cave. If you see that cave, that's how you know you're close to the right spot. But he is basically going to be right around here, and you're going to talk to him, and he's going to be like, I'm hunting down this demon. Do you want to help me kill this demon? There's a couple other places you can encounter him as well, but he will be here. So as long as you talk to him here and say, like, yes, I'm going on your quest, eventually he will join you to kill the boss in the Avian Marsh. And that's going to be needed to progress his quest, where you can unlock him as a boss, which is one of the requirements working towards platinum, but also getting the ending you want. Now, besides that, the other reason we come over here, as you can see, we have the windmills over here. You're going to find both Heyo Zai as well as Fang Yao. They're going to be over here. You're just going to do a little bit of dialogue with them. There's nothing important here that you're going to really need to progress. You're just going to want to do that dialogue with them. Just, hey, how y'all been? Are y'all progressing things? Just, you might as well. As far as I can tell, I don't think you have to have that dialogue, because I didn't get that dialogue in my first playthrough, and I was able to progress and still get the rings. But regardless, you might as well run by and talk to them. Now, as long as you have talked to Boo Dude and helped him kill the boss, that's going to be he will want to join you to kill the boss that's basically right past the avian dwelling in the Avian Marsh. It's the big bird lady known as Bo Sorcerer. You're going to have to summon him for that fight. So walk into the fight, go ahead, pull out your bone whistle, summon him in. You're going to help him kill that boss. After you've helped him kill that boss, the next place he's going to go is going to be over at the tomb. So real fast, just to show how to get to the tomb, because I've seen people overlook this one, we're going to start over at the avian dwelling, and we'll work our way on over to him. So assuming you completely progress through the Avian Marsh, you should have this shortcut unlocked. If you don't, you could also go the back entrance towards the Bow Sorcerer and work your way backwards to get up here. But after you have assisted him with killing the Bow Sorcerer, you're then going to take this path here. Take this long back path, and you'll come out to a big graveyard, which we can see up ahead. Now, he will just be chilling over in that graveyard after you've beaten the boss. And there's going to be some dialogue that you can have with him. And he's going to be like, you know a lot. You should come back after you've discovered the truth. As long as you get that dialogue, you're basically set. And you just want to come back and talk to him in Act 5, which we're coming up on the main inflection point. So assuming you've done everything until now, we make our way into Act 4. Annulum is going to be where Act 4 kicks off. Now, as you go over to Annulum, what you're going to want to do is, once again, Heyo Zai and Fang Yao will be here. There's going to be some more dialogue. They're both going to be just right over there by that lantern. You can just talk to them. There's no decision points or anything, and this is going to happen right before you end up talking to the storyteller that's over here as well. But once again, I think you might be able to make your way to Bo Magus and then talk to storyteller. I need to confirm that. Once I do, I will end up pinning a comment. But talk to them over there. Then the next time we have a chance to talk to both of them, it's going to be over at the... can I not go to Revenant Temple anymore? No, I can. It's weird. Oh, I think it's because important location. Revenant Temple is gone. But the next time you have a chance to them is going to be here over at the Revenant Temple. Now, once you make your way over here, this is going to be one of the main inflection points. And what I mean by this is that as you're making your way over here, how I said previously that you could give the one dude the burning chisel. If you don't do this, even if you don't hand over the burning chisel, you're still going to end up getting the Jarful of Medicine ending, because the next two NPC interactions are going to be what get us the Ring of Cause and the Ring of Effect that we need to progress to the third and fourth ending. But so once you have reached Revenant Temple in Act 4, you have to progress this to get to the final boss of the act, so you can't possibly miss this. You're going to find Fang Yao over here, and she's crying and upset, talking about all the monsters. Go ahead and just exhaust her dialogue. She is going to give you the Ring of Cause. She's also going to give you Research Journal Scrap number 3. Once you have those two, we're then going to make our way into the temple. And as we make our way up into the temple, you'll end up encountering Heiyojai. He's going to be up here, and by talking to him and handing over the research note, you're then going to get the Ring of Effect. So at that point, you should have the Ring of Cause, the Ring of Effect, and now you've fulfilled the base requirements to get the third ending of the game, the Bound by Fate's Threads. I don't have them in my inventory anymore because I've already combined them, but it looks like this just separated. That's all. So once you have that, at that point, the only thing you don't want to do is give bro the chisel. When Guy asks for the chisel, do not give him the chisel, because that will mess things up, and then you won't be able to get the third and fourth ending. And this is why I said it is possible to get this all in one save. Basically, you would make a backup save, you would give him the chisel, sprint through the game, beat the Act 5 boss, get that ending, and then reload all the way to back here. So a very safe spot to make your backup is going to be when you first get to the shrine in Act 4, and then that way you can just blitz through Act 5 as fast as possible. Alternatively, you could just save it for New Game Plus. That's what I did. I think it's easier to just, beeline New Game Plus, not worrying about quests to get that ending, but depends how comfortable you are with save backups and what you feel like doing. So all that being said, after this, we would kill the Act 4 boss, progress into Act 5, Bow Capital. Once you have the Bow Capital unlocked, at this point, you're going to want to make your way back over to the tomb, and there's going to be a fight with Zhao Yun that you can do. By completing that fight with Zhao Yun, that is going to give you the fourth and final chisel. So you'll have Arum, Vermilion, Jade, and Scion. Well, fifth chisel, I guess, because you start with the ancient chisel. But you're going to need to have all 5 of these chisels in your inventory if you are making your way towards the secret ending. Now, the next main point is going to be down in the Bow Capital at the depths of the capital. Once again, this is going to be critical path. It's impossible to just miss this. Actually, I guess you could technically miss this, but it would be pretty hard. Just to show how to find this shrine very quickly, because it is kind of tucked in here a little bit. But as you're progressing your way through the capital, you're going to come through there. You're going to make your way over here. And a good thing is when you see that big guy up there, that big bird demon, be like, okay, let me make a quick left into here. You're going to make a left into here, and then ta-da, there's going to be a shrine waiting for you. But once you come over here, we have a riddle door. Now, there are going to be 2 options for this door, and you're going to want to take the bottom option. The wheel turns anew. If you take the top option, the door is going to open, you'll talk to the boatman, you'll get some stuff, but you'll then be locked out of getting the ending because the place you have to go is only accessible if you take the bottom option at that door. So regardless of if you're going for ending 3 or 4, you're going to want to take that choice. By doing that, it's going to teleport you over to Shrine Dwelling, and this is where we want to go to then get the Rings of Cause and Effect. So now that we are over here, you're just going to work your way down. And it's worth noting you also need to make that choice if you want to get the Demon of Obsession. Otherwise, there's no other way to get over here. Like I said, it's only via that teleport door, which is another thing that makes New Game Plus worth it, because you can do one playthrough where you take the choice on each door that'll teleport you. And then on your second playthrough, you can take the choice to solve all the riddles. But so you're going to kill the boss. You're then going to progress this way. You're going to make your way all the way up, and this will be the fabled altar that you're seeking if you had been wondering how to combine the rings for most of your playthrough. We make our way all the way up. There's a couple different emote actions you can do for some goodies here as well. But make your way on over to here. You're going to have an option, and by interacting with it right here, you'll then have a chance to combine the rings, and by doing so, you will obtain the Ring of Samsara Rebirth. And at this point, you now have the key to achieve Dream's Sweet Deceit. But whether you get Dream's Sweet Deceit or you get the Fateful Threads ending, that can all be decided at the very end of the game, which is what we're going to talk about just a second as we teleport over there. So once you have that, the main inflection point and the final one is going to be here at the Gate of Truth. And this is basically where your ending is decided for everything, with the exception of Bo Magus. If you've made it over here and you interact with this gate and you gave bro your chisel, or you don't have the cause and effect rings, you're going to be locked into the Jarful of Medicine. If you make it to this gate and you have the Ring of Samsara, you're going to be getting Dream's Sweet Deceit. But if you make your way over here and you had gotten the rings, you didn't hand over the chisel, but you don't have the Ring of Samsara, instead you have the Ring of Cause and Effect, you're going to get bound by Fate's threads. And this is the fun part, to get bound by Fate's threads as well as Dream's Sweet Deceit. From this point right here, we can go ahead, we can return to title, or we can exit the game, back up your save. If you're on PC, this is super easy. Just take your save folder, copy and paste it somewhere. If you're on console, you got to do some stuff with like backing it up to cloud and then turning cloud autosave off and then progressing and then re-downloading your cloud save. It's a much bigger pain in the ass on console. It is possible. I'd highly suggest you look up a detailed guide on how to do it so you don't bork your save and end up losing it. But basically, you're going to interact with this door while you have Ring of Samsara in your inventory. If you fulfilled everything to get this and you have all 5 chisels, you interact with that door, boom, Dream's Sweet Deceit is achieved. Now, when you reload your save, here's the interesting thing. If you just go into your inventory and you select Use to remove the Ring of Samsara from your inventory, because you no longer have the combined ring, it's going to default you down to Bound by Fate's threats. So you can do all the steps that are required to achieve Dream's Sweet Deceit as well as Bound by Fate's threads. And then once again, simply go to your inventory, select Use. That will remove the Ring of Samsara, but because you had previously obtained the rings of cause and effect and you didn't hand over the chisel, you still fulfill all the requirements to get Bound by Fate's threads, therefore allowing you to achieve 2 endings back to back. So that's going to wrap things up here. Definitely a lot of information to go through, but I know I've had countless people being like, how do I get the ending? What are the important things I don't want to mess up? And that's going to be it. So obviously there's a ton of other NPC quests in this game to dog into. I think the biggest thing, honestly, is anytime you see an NPC, just talk to them and you'll end up progressing a lot of the quests pretty well. But otherwise, thanks for coming by. If you have more questions, it'll probably get covered in the walkthrough. Otherwise, leave a question down below, and thanks for watching.